Welcome to Illini Drive 107.1 WPGU on this beautiful Monday evening. Nithin and Brendyn back at it on a Monday. How are you doing, Nithin?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, my day started off like a little shaky. Nothing bad happened. It was just I was lazy with my internship approach this year.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get it in last minute.
I feel that. I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, I was emailing a bunch of places trying to get something going. But then at like 4 o'clock, my apartment has like a terrace.
Yeah.
So me and a bunch of friends went out there, played some beer dive without the beer. I'm a capital J journalist. We got to be sober.
Capital J. I love that. I'm glad you had a little bit of fun.
Brendyn, what about you?
Man, it was nice. I had class from 11 to 3-ish.
Okay.
So that's always how that is on Monday. But then, yeah, I just kind of hung out with my roommates. It was really, really nice outside, so I got to be outside for a little bit. I love it. I mean, this is.
Are you guys doing anything specifically outside?
No, just kind of chilling.
Okay.
But this is the start of the beautiful weather season. So, good for it. It was like 80 today. I was kind of sweating outside.
Yeah, I got
the
a little
first time
back sweat
ever.
on me right now.
Like, come on now, love that. I'll grow to not like that as the season goes on. But it's nice when you've been dealing with winter for so long. But yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. It was a good week, or it's a good start to the week. Let me say that.
Yeah, because even the weather yesterday was very, very nice.
Yeah.
It was a little bit colder, but the sun was out. So
Yeah,
it felt
exactly.
the exact same, if not warmer. And I really hope we're past all the second winter sort of stuff, and we're into...
I think so. Now that we're in April, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be 80 every day, but it'll definitely never be.
I don't think it'll
25
be below 40. I think there might be some 50s in there.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It seems like this is the time. This is the time
Hopefully.
when we can just relax, enjoy our last month on campus.
Man, it is one more month until finals week starts. That's tough. But yeah, another thing that's tough, man. April Fools was a weird day. I actually hate April Fools as a journalist.
That's very fair because everything is very confusing.
You don't know if it's real, if it's not. I'm not a big April Fool's guy, like particularly because, like, I mean, I like pranks, but I feel like nobody pranks anymore. They just lie. If that makes sense.
I feel like on social media.
Yeah,
maybe.
Especially on social media.
But also, isn't a prank kind of a form of lie?
Yeah, but some people just be like, man, this happened. And then you'll be like, okay, like, did this really happen? And I'll be like, no, April Fool. Like the whole Kofi and Io coming back. I know that was like.
Yeah, that was kind of.
I never believed it. It was far stretched anyway, but it was like, that's just a lie. Like, that's not really a prank. Like, if you're gonna prank, like, do a little, like, like, I don't know, Photoshop some posts or something. I don't know.
Or say Adam Miller is going to enter the transfer portal.
That was wild. That's the thing that we're going to talk about right now. And that kind of came off as I remember this. I'm not a nap taker. I don't take a lot of naps. I took a nap on April Fool's. What was that, Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday. So I remember I did a show with Josh that day. I'm not a nap taker. I took a nap and I woke up from the nap and my friend texted me. He's like, is this Adam Miller thing legit?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what do you mean this Adam Miller thing? I went on my phone immediately. Adam Miller entered the transfer portal, da-da-da. I was like, come on. Like why would Adam Miller enter the transfer portal? Did a little digging. It's confirmed Adam Miller's in the transfer portal. Multiple sources confirmed it. Illinois spokesperson confirmed it. Obviously, it's something that's real right now. Man, that was just something that I didn't expect. Is that weird? Did you expect it, Nithin?
I didn't expect it at all. I remember I had kind of a similar thing as you where I was just in my kitchen about to make food and my roommate just was coming out talking and he's like, you see Adam Miller's entering the transfer portal? I'm like, okay, is that like an April Fool's joke? And he's like, maybe, but I don't think so. And then, about an hour later it gets confirmed and I was taken aback because it seemed as though Adam Miller was going to be Io's replacement.
Right.
And kind of be the go-to scorer. You're going to have him maybe split duty with Andre Curbelo. And it looks like a good winning formula and something where Adam Miller could be like a maybe 2 or 3 year guy and then end up going to the draft after having maybe like an all Big Ten first team type year one of his seasons. But that's kind of the opposite of what we got. We got a year where Adam Miller started off great, had some great moments, but it was a lot of just conservative, waiting on the rest of the team to create shots and then him pick up the rest of it. which was kind of disappointing because I thought Adam Miller could have been like 3 years ago, he probably would have averaged like 16 points per game on that team just
Yeah,
because
100%.
he's capable of scoring. It's just a lot of it was catch and shoot last year.
Yeah, I think, and we can get into this a little bit. I think thinking about it more, thinking about the future of this team, makes this move make sense for Adam Miller. I don't think that anything this year influenced him to go seek a transfer. I think that he knew when Io came back, because he signed after Io came back. He committed way before, but he finally signed his letter of intent when Io decided to return about like a few weeks later. So he knew what this year was going to be. He knew that he wasn't going to be a number 1 or even a number 2 option. And he kind of, subverted to like the number 4, number 5 option on this offense in terms of scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knew that was going to come. This year, I don't think had a huge play into it. I think when you look into the future and look at what this team can be, I think with people coming back, with Hutcherson coming back, with Grandison coming back, with Kofi possibly coming back, Curbelo with his surgence, what he was as a tool in this offense. I think that Adam Miller looked around and he said he kind of thinks of himself as, I don't think there's a way for me to be on this team and produce enough or produce as widely as I need to produce in all aspects of the game to become an NBA prospect. I think that's what that comes down to. I don't know if he looked at this season was like, this was such a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And Illinois did not use Adam Miller the way that Adam Miller should be used.
Yeah.
Nor should they have. I don't think his talents and what he can produce really would fit into this game when you have guys like Kofi, like Io, like Trent Frazier. But I also think he looked into the future, maybe something that he thought would have been an opportunity that he thought would have been there at the beginning of the year. When he looks to the future, doesn't really see himself being in this offense.
Yeah, if you're Adam Miller, this is probably a safer approach for your future just because the way Illinois has trended, it's trending up. And you're getting some good players next year. You've already got one commit, I think, for 2022. So there's some positive momentum there that may lead to an influx of players. And you might think, hey, I could go somewhere else where I'm going to be the guy and maybe have a similar type role that Alan Griffin did, where he goes to Syracuse and he becomes one of their primary players.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you look at the roster, I don't really know why that wouldn't be Illinois. Because, yes, Andre Curbelo is going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten next season. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. And he's going to hold the ball and have the ball in his hands a lot of the time. But aside from that, like Trent's leaving, Io's leaving, I don't think Austin Hutcherson's going to be that type of guy. If anything, I feel like he's going to just take Adam Miller's role from last season. So Adam Miller, I feel like, has an opportunity to come back, and he would have had an opportunity to come back, score like 12 to 14 points a game, and then maybe the next year really blossom. Because even Luke Goody, like, is he really going to be a ball-dominant player? It seems like he's going to be a spot-up shooter that's going to be useful in a couple of years, but isn't going to average, let's say, double-digit scoring. Same with, like, RJ Melendez. I don't know exactly what we're going to get from him yet.
Right. Here's what I think. Me and Josh went back and forth on this on Thursday. I think that Adam Miller looked at this team and looked at what he needs to do to become a serious NBA prospect and said that this team isn't going to be able to use me correctly, right? As a 6'3" guard, who's a little undersized just to be a scorer in the NBA, I think he looks around and he says, okay, what do I need to do to become a serious NBA prospect? You need to control an offense. You need to be able to handle an offense on your own. That's not Adam Miller's role in the near future because Andre Curbelo has shown that he is that guy. And especially if Kofi Cockburn comes back, you have the ball handler in Andre Curbelo, and you have the guy that the whole offense is going to center around for the next year if Kofi comes back in Kofi Cockburn.
So is your concern that he basically just becomes Trent Frazier in the offense and that he'll get some scoring numbers, but it's not his responsibility to run the offense?
Yeah, Trent Frazier of this year, where it's Curbelo or it's Io running the offense. And then Curbelo's kind of like third option to run the offense when both of those guys are either not doing it or on the bench or whatever, and kind of just shifts into the guy that's kind of like has to focus on other things. And I think Adam Miller, who is more talented than Trent Frazier is, I believe, Um, I think to sit down and to say, what do I need to do to become an actual NBA prospect? He needs to be a point guard. And I don't think in this offense he would ever be a point guard. He's going to be a guy that is going to have to, score big numbers further down the line or kind of be a spot up shooter. And that's just not what NBA scouts are looking for right now, especially out of a guy that's 6'3". Mm-hmm. So he looks at this team that's gaining wings in terms of Melendez, in terms of Hutcherson, in terms of Hutcherson, Grandison coming back, Luke Goody coming. A team that has 4, and then you also add Hawkins. That's 4 or 5 wings that are pretty switchable between the 2, 3, and the 4. I don't think. Adam Miller looks at this offense or this team and kind of thinks, where do I see myself fit into this? And I think that he desires a role where he is more in charge of the offense. He can show his skills in terms of playmaking, in terms of shot creating, in terms of scoring the basketball, in terms of defense, which he did really well this year, and be a leader of the team. I don't think he would be the leader of the team in any situation in the next 2 years on this Illinois team, especially with Andre Curbelo and Kobe Coburn possibly returning next year.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I guess my hope would have been that Adam Miller becomes like a bigger, more of a slashing version of Trent Frazier. Mm-hmm. And I could kind of see why him looking at that saying, I'm not that player. Yeah. I'm the guy that was the lead dog my entire 100%. Time in high school, and I was one of the best players in Illinois coming out. Like, I should be able to be the most important decision maker. And it's just never going to happen with Andre Curbelo because we've seen the capabilities that Andre Curbelo has. And, like, even I know it's some clips on Twitter, but, like, those videos of him taking jumpers are very, very promising because that's the one flaw in his game. And then
Curbelo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he becomes his
workouts over the summer.
Yeah, he's your go-to guy at that
100%.
point. And then Adam Miller's role is even diminished more. 100%. So I can understand it. I just wish he would have come back because I think there's an avenue for him to still be an NBA prospect. And there's also an avenue for him to contribute next year. But it is definitely a decision that I'm not going to question it because it is kind of wise and it's a safe choice.
I think it's very smart, and I don't think this is detrimental to Illinois. When you look at the Allen Griffin transfer decision, I think you look at that and you're like, in hindsight, you're looking at this team, and you're like, man, this team didn't have a bona fide third option until late in the season, if that. And that third option still rotated between Curbelo, between Frazier, and even Adam Miller at times. So you didn't have a bona fide 3 until late in the season. And that hurts you for most of the beginning half of the season. With this transfer, I keep saying trade. So with this transfer, I don't think you're looking at it in the future and saying, okay, who's going to replace him? I think you have guys coming in that are going to be able to fill up his role.
Yeah.
And I think you have guys returning that are also going to be able to fill up some of that. And as much as I do like Adam Miller, I'm a huge Adam Miller guy. I think he's very talented. I think that if the things go right for him in college, he could 100% be an NBA prospect.
He could be a first-round pick.
I agree. I don't see him as vital to the Illinois offense. And this is because of the way that Illinois is going. They've shown, ever since Kobe Coburn has come here, they've shown that they want to be the big man first, and then let's establish the rest of the offense. And you can do that with different pieces, and you can do that with variable pieces. And coming through with Andre Curbelo, who's going to be the primary ball handler. Like, if we didn't have Andre Curbelo, it'd be a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But I think having Andre Curbelo, some guy that shows you he can ball handle with the best of them if he's focused, if he doesn't take a lot of risks, and finish at the rim with the best of them, and will continue to develop a shooting stroke throughout his time in the summer, throughout his time in the fall before the season starts. When you have that, I don't think you need somebody like Adam Miller. Is it going to hurt to not have him? I think he's a great dude. I think that he's a guy that contributes a lot to the success of the program. Yes, but in terms of on the court, in terms of skill base, I think that he's some guy that's replaceable. And that's good for Adam Miller because that's not a shot at Adam Miller's talent as much as it's a shot at how Illinois used Adam Miller's talent. I don't think they used him the right way. And I don't think that they should use him the way he should be used. I don't think this offense gears toward his capabilities as a player. So I think that he should go find some place that would. You know what I mean?
So I'd push back on that a little. I think I agree with most of what you're saying. The one difference I'd say that Adam Miller provides that some of the other guys you're bringing in, because if you're worried about Adam Miller just being the catch and shoot guy and that guy leaving, I'm not concerned about that because you have a lot of players, as we've talked about, Hutcherson and Luke Goody, that are probably going to fill that role, at least in an aggregate. My concern is that you're losing Io also. So you already have, and Trent, you're losing holes with ball handlers, and Andre Curbelo can't fill all of them. So I thought Adam Miller could have increased his playmaking and his off the dribble drive, because when we saw that, it was really good. It's just we didn't get to see enough of it because he's a great 3-point shooter and you're able to space the floor better when he was in the corners or when he was in the wings readying for a three. My concern is that you're losing another potential ball handler and playmaker now, which the Illini are kind of lacking. And I'm guessing they're going to go in the transfer market and probably get one or two guys, because at this point, Andre Curbelo can't play 40 minutes at point guard each game. So someone else is going to have to be there because there is no one at this point.
Yeah, we're looking at this, and that's the good thing about this is the first year where, correct me if I'm mistaken, but you will not have the penalty of the sitting out a year. I feel like that was the big thing over the course. Is that
I'm not positive about that.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure.
But definitely in the last few years, they've been really lenient.
They've been very lenient, and if you don't have to sit out that year, that's such a huge thing to the offense, or to the team in general. But I agree. I think that they're looking towards the transfer market, but this is also the year that everybody seems to be transferring. Everybody seems to be doing something that hasn't been done in such a long time, where just mass groups of people are deciding to hop in the transfer portal and see where they can be. I mean, you think of premier guys around the Big Ten, like Carr, like deciding to put their name in the transfer portal and see where they can go. Mm-hmm. We can talk about the transfer that Illinois picked up in Omar Payne, a rim running guy from Florida, but I don't think that's the end of it. I think that Illinois could look to pick up another one, or maybe even two more, to fill that void of Andre Curbelo really being the only ball handling guy on this team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just mapping out the rotation at this point, it's, I don't want to say bleak, but it's very uncertain, because who are the guys for sure are playing? Curbelo's playing. Mm-hmm. If I can't even include Kofi in this conversation. Curbelo's playing. Jacob Grandison's playing. Austin Hutch. You think Austin Hutcherson's.
He seems like he's playing. Yeah, seems very active on
Twitter. Georgie's playing.
Yeah, and
then you expect Coleman to play. Yeah, so that's 6 guys. Am I missing anyone that for sure is going to be
give you solid minutes?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I mean, you're losing DeMonte, you're losing Io, you're losing Trent,
losing Adam now.
You're losing Adam. So that's the 10 guys that really played this year. Mm-hmm. So you're not really missing.
And you're losing Kofi potentially.
You're potentially losing Kofi. And obviously this whole season we talk about expectations and stuff hinges on whether Kofi is going to, come back or not.
Yeah, it's potentially a 5 seed difference.
100%. I mean, you could look at wins and stuff like that, but I mean Kofi is dominant. Kofi is huge, and Kofi may be one of the most game-changing guys in college basketball when it comes to I could see Illinois going from say they play 32 games next regular season. I could see them going from a 25-win team to a 18-win team without Kofi Cockburn. And that's just how dominant he is. That's how, good he is. So this all hinges on that. But yeah, I mean, I think that Illinois really has to fill in some of the gaps that they've been missing through the transfer market. And we'll see if they feel like the guys that are coming in, Melendez, Goody, possibly Ty, if that works out, will fill up that role. But I mean, in the meantime, they really have to get down on their recruiting and for the last minute recruiting for the 2021 class, and kind of get down on the transfer market and see what's good with it.
Yeah, so we've already brought up Omar Payne being on this roster. What is his role now, though? Because I feel like his role obviously changes a lot with Kofi.
100%.
But even without Kofi, is Georgie your starter now?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think that it all depends on Kofi, right? Kofi changes this guy from Omar Payne from a starter to a guy that's, in the reserves, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's some guy that's shown promise. I think that he is slightly above. Oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? Who's the center? That barely gets.
Oh my God.
I feel so bad.
Wait, I got the roster pulled
Why
up.
am I covering Illinois sports? I also have the
Jermaine Hamlin.
Jermaine Hamlin.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jermaine. You're a talented guy.
And he's above like BBV. So
Right. He's above BBV. He's slightly above Jermaine Hamlin in terms of experience and in terms of, kind of just, rim running ability. But if Kofi comes back, he's there. I don't think there's really a spot for him in the starting rotation.
Also, like, why wasn't Jermaine Hamlin playing more? Because
couldn't tell you. I don't know. I like Jermaine Hamlin.
I do too. Just like similar to the way like Boban plays on the Mavs, where it's just come in, give me like 5-10 minutes of just solid work running at the rim, giving Kofi a rest, so we don't have to.
Right.
We can play a similar style, but we can also have Georgie next to him.
It'd be so weird because they'd have like Georgie at the 5. Grandison up there, DeMonte up there.
Really small
lineups that would be very, sometimes Georgie would go out there and play really good defense. Sometimes he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be very detrimental to the big men. But I'm a Jermaine Hamlin fan. I think this transfer kind of put some Illinois careers into question. Jermaine Hamlin's to be frank. BBVs, to be frank, I don't know where BBV fits kind of into this.
Yeah, but I don't really know where he fits
into anywhere. I agree. But yeah, I think that he's a guy that looked at Kofi's development as just, in all aspects of the game except for really shooting, and said like he developed a lot. Even though he was so talented his freshman year, his sophomore year he came in and developed a lot. He kind of looked at that and was like, okay, like, would this coaching staff, would Antigua would be able to do that for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's important and that's, good, but I don't know if I look at Omar Payne and say he's the Kofi replacement. Because I just don't think anybody's really the Kofi replacement.
The problem is, though, if you start Georgie, there's some major issues
100%.
With that starting lineup.
Well, I think that if Kofi leaves, I think Payne would have to, either Payne or Haskins would have to kind of get in there and start. But that just totally changes what this offense wants to do. I mean, we've seen the last 2 years with Kofi Cockburn totally changed what this offense and defense look like. And that would totally change it once again.
It sounds crazy, but like I don't think Coleman Hawkins starting at center is out of the question yet.
I don't think so either. I would love to see him, put on some weight.
Yeah.
2, get a little bit more comfortable. When he's out there, especially on the offensive end, he looks a little lost at times and looks a little bit out of place.
The 3-point shooting was something I just never understood because he was hyped up as one of the best shooters on the team, and it just never came. I mean, granted, when you're playing like 5 minutes a game, it's just hard.
It's hard to get into a rhythm. I think that he probably is one of the best 3-point shooters on the team in a vacuum, but I think that shooting in practice and shooting in the game is totally different. I mean, we saw DeMonte Williams. I mean, they hyped him up as he's the guy that's going to make all the threes in practice. Is he the best game shooter? Probably not. And that's a whole different atmosphere. But do I think that Hawkins can be a valuable stretch 5? Yes, but I think that he needs to be able to do a lot more on the court to earn himself that minute, of course.
Yeah, it seems like he's 2 years away. Like junior year might be the time when he's getting starter minutes.
Definitely.
And he's definitely got the raw talent to be a great Big Ten player. But yeah, Omar Payne starting at center is just not something I want to look forward to. I mean, I'm glad we got him.
Yeah.
And he would be a great backup center for Kofi. But like the Georgie versus Omar Payne responsibilities down low, it's a complete drop off from Kofi.
Yeah, I mean, I this transfer market has totally warped what we're going to think of Illinois in the next year, but at least they're not in Indiana where like 5 guys, 6 guys are transferring.
Yeah.
At least they're not in that situation.
Although Brad Stevens, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
We'll
see.
Indiana. That's going to lead us to our first break. When we come back, man, the national championship is tonight. Get hyped. We had an amazing Final Four game with Gonzaga and UCLA. We had a kind of, lopsided Final Four game with Baylor and Houston. We'll talk about both those way more than Gonzaga UCLA when we come back on Illini Drive 1071 WPGU. Welcome back to Illini Drive 1071 WPGU. As I said before, the national championship is today. Gonzaga versus Baylor, the matchup that we missed in the beginning of the season, finally coming around. It seems only natural. It seems through this tournament we've kind of seen.
We've come full circle.
There's two teams that really kind of stood out all season. We kind of forgot about how dominant they were at the end of the season when things were kind of getting closer. But they're in the championship. They're in the national championship for one reason. It's because those two are the best teams in the nation. They have been since when did the season start? October? November?
Late October.
Late October. But yeah, gosh, let's.
Wait, no. Illinois' first game was what?
I think it was later. Didn't it? It started later.
We'll say November.
I'm trying to think because it was right after.
It was when we were
football.
back for Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah, because it was that tournament, that MTE. Anyway.
Yeah, and we had to come back early, and then
the Ohio State game, Illinois game. Yeah, I was looking at my Snapchat memories. Me and my roommate Gabby, who were going to cover that game, took a Snapchat because we came back that night, and they didn't cancel the game until like 9 p.m. that night, and the game was.
I did the same thing. I came back during the day on I think it was Friday, and then I'm going to sleep, and I'm like, I guess this game's canceled.
Yeah, game's canceled. Anyway.
Tough life for us.
Tough life for covering sports in COVID. Shout out Justin Fields though, man. We're gonna talk about that a little later. I do want to talk about NFL.
Have you seen that video of Orlovsky talking about him?
Yes.
It's not like bad, I'd say. It's just like
it's a little weird.
It's interesting.
But man, let's talk about this Baylor Houston game just a little bit. Baylor, just goodness gracious. Baylor took a lead and never really even looked back.
This is the Baylor we saw against Illinois.
I would say even. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Houston is better than Illinois.
Yeah.
Obviously, they made it further in the tournament. But, man, this Baylor team was, 45-20 in the first half. Like, how do you come back from that?
And I forgot who, but on Houston, they had one player score 15 of those points.
Yeah. What was his name? I'm about to look it up. Was it Sasser?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's the only person that scored over 15.
Okay, so that
Marcus Sasser. Shout out to him. He didn't want to lose, so he put in all the work that he could. But Baylor, oh my goodness, man. Flo Thamba. That's
such
one of the best names in college basketball. Jared Butler had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Other people that contributed a lot. Davian Mitchell, who looks so much like Donovan.
He does.
In terms of how he
got the
plays,
same number. He's got the same like sort of flow with him. Same
way he plays. Man, 12 points, 11 assists, 2 rebounds. Matthew Mayer, 12 points, 4 rebounds.
Matthew Mayer was not this good, I feel like, against Illinois.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at his stat line and it's solid. 7.6 boards. I do not remember him having this much of an impact as I've seen the last 2 weeks.
He just looks like the college basketball player to give you nightmares. Doesn't he?
They list him at a guard, which is insane.
6'9".
He's 6'9". He's like their power forward.
Yeah. Mark Vital, he didn't really show up, but I remember him from that Illinois game.
Mm-hmm.
Maceo Teague, 11.6 assists, 2 rebounds. Yeah, this was just complete domination pretty much from the start to the finish. Houston did outscore them in the second half, but they still lost by 19 points. There's not a lot to say about this game except for this was probably the perfect confidence game to lead into the national championship for Baylor.
Baylor is good.
Baylor's really good. They're good defensively. They're phenomenal offensively. And they probably feel like they can beat anybody at this point, which is how you want to feel going to the national championship.
That is how they should feel.
That's how you should feel, right? You've lost to 2 teams all year, Kansas and Oklahoma State. Yeah. And, you're playing some of your best basketball right now. So
they are.
Shout out to Baylor.
I don't know if it is their best basketball, but it's up there with some of the early season stuff that they were doing. And on the flip side, like Gonzaga was phenomenal throughout. We're going to get into the Gonzaga UCLA game, but Gonzaga was phenomenal up until this game, and they were dominating opponents. So, hey, we might be looking at a great game in just less than an hour and a half.
I wouldn't even say up until this game. I think they were phenomenal in this UCLA game as well. It's just UCLA played them as well
Yeah.
as they'd ever been played.
No, that's
Probably
fair.
the best game they've ever had this year. But goodness, first off, shout out to UCLA.
Shout out the JJs. As I told you, the JJs are gonna ball, and they did.
And Juzang, man, like they hooped. Shout out to Juzang, had 29 points at a game tying basket before one of the will probably go down as one of the best shots in March Madness history.
We should, in the next episode, as sort of like a capper of the tournament, just do some sort of rankings for
I'm ready.
best shots.
Planning our episodes 2 days in advance. Who would have thought?
Not us. That's crazy.
Not us. What? I don't know how to ask this question because I want to say something that about this game and about these two teams, but I don't know what category of question it fits.
You know what? Just say it. Just say it.
I've watched a lot of Big Ten basketball this year.
Mm-hmm.
My job. I watched pretty much. I definitely watched every Illinois game. I've watched a lot of Iowa. I've watched a lot of Ohio State. I've watched a lot of Michigan. I don't know if, and both teams didn't play a lot of reserves, right? It was mostly their 5 starters. Gonzaga played two guys of their reserves, 10 minutes from Watson, 9 minutes from Cook. UCLA played a lot of Singleton, 31 minutes. But I don't think that Illinois, or really any Big Ten team, has as many guys that can make as many big shots deep into their roster as Gonzaga and UCLA had. And maybe that's a credit to Gonzaga being the best team.
I think they do compared to UCLA. I don't think compared to Gonzaga. Because Gonzaga's entire starting 5, you could argue they're all NBA players.
Man, they're so good.
And, like, the range it's a lot of top-end talent because you have Corey Kispert, who second-team All-American.
He's going to be a top 15 draft pick this year.
He's the best shooter in the country, and his most impressive play was just creating a poster.
That was nasty.
I just didn't expect it at all.
You look at Corey Kispert, you're like, that's not him, but that was him that day.
That's your leading scorer. You got Jalen Suggs.
He's going to be a top 5 pick.
Maybe top 3 pick.
Probably.
You saw him guarding Johnny Juzang, and Johnny Juzang was phenomenal in this game, but not because Jalen Suggs was bad. Jalen Suggs was doing everything he could to make tough shots for Johnny Juzang, and he did. He's also your most complete offensive player, I think, from a guard. You see him make that full court dime
to Timmy.
Then obviously it's the game-winning shot, but he does so much for this offense. And then Drew Timme, who they do not win that game if Drew Timme does not.
Absolutely,
just score.
They don't win a lot of the games that they play this year without Timme.
Well, they might. I mean, they were just so.
I just think he's so solid.
He is, and
Drew Timme is what Georgie Bashanishvili dreams he could be. Is that mean to say?
Well, okay, I think
that's a lot of. But in terms of power forwards, that's a lot of guys who dream they could be him.
Yeah, but it's just they're not even in the same ballpark. I like to think of Drew Timme as the Kevin McHale of college basketball.
So good in the post.
He's so skilled in the post.
I rewatched the extended highlight film, which like shows you all the makes or whatever. He's unguardable.
He is.
Like, how do you sit there and look? It has to be so frustrating for any opposing big man that goes against him. It just sits there and just works in the post and has every move that you could ever think of. Drew Timme has in his back pocket, and he pulls it out at an array of different times.
Yeah, and we saw like UCLA's. I don't want to say they're small, but they tend to play more guards. But even when like Jaime Jaquez, who's 6'6", like that's okay size. That's decent size to go on Timme. Whenever those switches would come in overtime, Drew Timme just 1-2 dribbles, a little shimmy, gets a layup every time.
Every time.
I mean, the charge was obviously crucial, but
then that was so huge.
Yeah, but Joel Ayayi, he was huge so game. Crucial for them in the first half. I think. If it's not for him, I think he was perfect in the first half, 6 for 6. Mm-hmm. It might have been like a double-digit game because UCLA was just rolling.
UCLA probably played the best game they could.
They did.
Yeah. They probably had the whole season. I didn't watch a lot of UCLA, but the game that they played, 57% from the field, 47% from 3 on 17 attempts. Could have shot free throws a little bit better, but that's just the situation. Mm-hmm. So could have Gonzaga. But literally, like, played probably the best game they could all season.
They took 2 number 1 seeds to overtime. That's so impressive.
Huge. I mean, that's why I want to just shout out UCLA. But what I said earlier in terms of, I don't know if any Big Ten team could have the guys hit those shots that UCLA did, they were down 7 with 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah.
Gonzaga increased that lead. And if you've watched any Gonzaga basketball this year, you're thinking at that point like, okay, here's where Gonzaga runs away.
Yeah,
here's where Gonzaga becomes Gonzaga. And
we saw it against BYU.
We saw it against so many.
We've seen it against multiple teams.
Here's where they get this. They extend the 7-point lead to about a 10-point lead, 13, 15. And then it's kind of cruising until the end. And UCLA doesn't really have a chance. UCLA played great defense. UCLA played better offense. Tied it up. Kept it,
Had a chance to win.
Juzang gets that charge, in his attempt to win the game.
Yeah, would have liked to see him kick it out because Tiger Campbell and Jaime Jaquez were open.
100%. And I'm sure he'll look at that play and be, that's tough. But also, he'll look at a lot of other plays from that game and be like, man, I should have made that. And I did. You know what I mean? So, goes into overtime. Great game. Gonzaga's up 5 in overtime. When you're up 5 in overtime with about 2 minutes left, that's a tough situation. UCLA tied it again.
UCLA was struggling to get offense, too.
100% in that. And they were able to they played such a good game. And the fact that it comes down to Jalen Suggs, top 3 pick, as we talk about.
Yeah.
Heave it from half court.
Yeah, I don't love it.
I love it.
I don't love it. If I'm being honest, I think the shot's incredible. But
I love it.
There's a couple things. One, the bank. I don't love the bank.
Hey, it go in. That's my motto.
Come on, give me the Gordon Hayward bank. Don't give me this bank.
Okay, sure.
But 2, I don't want to see them win like on this deep buzzer beater against UCLA because like that's how UCLA should win. That's not how Gonzaga should win.
I agree. That is how UCLA should win. But I think that man, I don't know any better way because this is what it is, right? It's March Madness. It's luck. It's chance. It's who is ready to play in that game, who is ready to be there in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the last shot came down to something where I'm not going to call it luck. I believe in luck. I don't know if I believe in luck in those situations. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a makeable shot, right? That requires skill. It's not like he threw it blindfolded.
Yeah, but he banked it.
Banked it. Sure.
He's not trying to bank it.
Sure, he banked it. Whatever. To me, a make is a make, right? But the fact that it came down to that, to chance, to unlikeliness, to let me heave it from half court because I have 3 seconds to make it from one baseline to the other. I think that's just so beautiful. I think that's what this game is. And that's what this whole tournament has really been. Or that's what not this tournament has been, but the tournament is about in terms of March Madness, is like beautiful moments. And that Jalen Suggs game-winning half-court heave against a team arguably that shouldn't have been there, against a team that, fought, 3 overtime periods through the tournament, brought Gonzaga to overtime, which they had not done all season, and really forced, Gonzaga's hand and made them almost lose that game. That's what it's all about. And I think that game was beautiful. And I think that a lot of guys played great games. Jaquez played a great game. Juzang played a great game. Suggs, Timmy, Kispert all played great games. Why do I want to say Jai? I'm thinking of the running back in the NFL. Yayi played an enormous game. I just think that this game was one of the best games, you could even ask for in the Final Four. We're in the tournament period.
All right, Brendyn, let's play a game.
I'm ready.
So we did this, I think, last week.
Ooh, you're going to test me on Final Four?
I'm going to throw out some games, some recent games, because this game has me thinking, like, what is this the best game since blank?
Mm-hmm.
So,
ready.
Let's start. We got to go to the last tournament we played.
Okay.
That would be, and you should expect this one, though, Virginia, Texas Tech. National championship game.
That was a good one.
Texas Tech.
Did that go into overtime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Leading a lot most of the way.
I remember freshman year watching that.
Yeah, you get the Ty Jerome to DeAndre Hunter pass. DeAndre Hunter nails the 3. You go to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia pulls it off, finishes off their run. Which game is better?
This one, because the Virginia-Texas Tech game in overtime separated.
Okay.
And 2 minutes left in that game, a minute and a half left, you kind of knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
This game, the fact that 3 seconds left, you're like, no way. It's going into double overtime.
Mm-hmm.
2 seconds left, 1 second left with Jalen Suggs. You're like, there's no way he's in this. There's no way. No. And then he banks it. That anticipation, with the Virginia Texas Tech game, you knew into that overtime who was going to win. With this game, you did not know until the ball hit off the bank and into the net. So this game is a little bit better.
Okay, let's keep it in the tournament. Let's keep it with the same team.
Okay.
Virginia, Purdue, Elite Eight. You get the Carson Edwards game going back and forth. He goes Carson for 40 points. But you get the missed Ty Jerome free throw, pass from Kihei Clark up to I'm forgetting who their center was at the time.
You're quizzing me on this, and I'm trying to remember where I was just watching this game.
You get the floater that goes to overtime, back and forth overtime. Carson Edwards has a chance to tie it up, drops the pass.
I remember that.
Which game was better?
This one, it has to end on a made shot.
It has to end on a made shot.
Well, I feel like that's what it is. If you end on a made shot, it's better than ending up on I almost caught the pass and I almost got the shot off. You know what I mean? Like, because, I don't know, I just feel like you have to, like, that's like a team going up is so much better than a team almost winning or almost tying and then not having that chance. If that makes sense.
Okay. Let's go back another year.
My criteria. You have these just in the back.
These ones.
Nithin is pulling these out in the back pocket, and I'm just trying to remember where I was at this time. Keep going. This must be my senior year of high school.
This one, okay. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. This might have been your junior year of high school.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. This was my freshman year of college.
So junior year of high school.
No, you're senior.
Okay.
I remember watching this in my dorm. I know the answer, but I got to include it.
Okay.
Loyola, Chicago. Ooh. First round.
Ooh, this is tough.
Playing Miami.
This is tough.
Miami's leading all the way. Yep. I think it was Lonnie Walker who hits the go-ahead shot.
Lonnie. Love Lonnie. Big Lonnie NBA fan.
Yeah, Clayton Custer coming down.
Yep.
Passes it to Dante Ingram. 3 buzzer beater game. Loyola Chicago upsets them.
You're bringing back memories.
First game that will eventually lead to a Final Four run.
So let me just get this straight, man. I am from Chicago. I went to school. I'm from the south side of Chicago. Went to school on the north side of Chicago. And had a lot of friends who were either at Loyola or going to Loyola the next year.
Okay.
That little 3-week span of what Loyola did was so insane in the city.
Yeah.
It was like people were going crazy, and I wish like I'm glad I'm the age I am now, but I wish I was like 21, 22-ish at that point. This is pre-COVID, like would have been able to go out and see those games in bars, types of stuff. In Chicago, because at that point, Illinois wasn't in the tournament. Correct me if I'm wrong. Northwestern wasn't even in the tournament or had lost early in the tournament.
The year before they were in the tournament.
I remember their run the year before. So this is Loyola's team, or this was Chicago's team, was Loyola. The mythical energy behind it, all that. Man, that was and that was the Miami one, that was the first one.
That was the first game?
It was the first game winner. And it was like a string of 3 game winners in a row. It was but that was the one that started off. And it was an upset. I think if UCLA, if the roles were flipped and UCLA, if Juzang hit that instead of Suggs, I could say that this game was better. But I would have to go to Loyola.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm pretty surprised.
And that's my pick. It's the things that hurt it are that it was early, and the things that hurt it was that it wasn't a Final Four. It wasn't a 1C hitting that. It wasn't like a NBA guy hitting that. But the things that helped it's Loyola.
Okay,
it's a mid-major. It's something that nobody thought could happen, and it started off a spring of 3 games in a row where it came down to the wire, and then even that Michigan game when they lost in the Final Four, where arguably, if they would have played a little bit better in the second half, they should have won. They were up going into the second half.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the answer, but I got a couple more I can throw at you.
Keep throwing them.
Let's go back one more year.
Okay.
National title game, 2017.
Okay.
Gonzaga, North Carolina.
Okay.
Back and forth affair. You got some great players.
This is the national championship game. Yep.
You got Joel Berry on North Carolina. Then on the other side, you got Nigel Williams-Goss.
Yep.
You got Karnowski. You got Zach Collins. Great affair. I believe North Carolina has a big bucket down the stretch. Then you get the run out after a Nigel Williams-Goss turnover for the famous Justin Jackson dunk. Back and forth affair. North Carolina wins it. Who you got?
Man, this is so tough. Because at this point, like, I'm just thinking about, like, memories. Games that I haven't thought about in so long. Ooh. Can you run me back, like, the last, like, what happened at the end of the game?
Oh boy, I got to pull it up.
That's what
I think that should be the answer, though. The fact that we can't remember this super well.
That's tough. Because I feel like this Jalen Suggs shot is something that I will remember for a while. And every time next year in the NBA, Jalen Suggs does something crazy, I'll be like, yeah, but that's not as good as that shot he made. You know what I mean? Or like, that's not like this, that's not like that.
Okay, so I got the play-by-play pulled up.
What was the year where North Carolina won it on like the last shot?
No, that didn't happen. I'm gonna get to that, but
okay, go ahead.
But this wasn't this year. So this was like a tie game with 1:40 left. Gonzaga was actually up with 2 minutes left, and then North Carolina hits a big bucket, and Isaiah Hicks jumper. Then Nigel Williams-Goss misses the shot. You get the Justin Jackson run out, dunk, game over. Basically, North Carolina wins the title.
It has to be. I mean, the fact that I didn't really has to be Jalen Suggs. That shot. But no discredit to North Carolina. Man, we didn't even talk about Roy Williams.
Yeah, I mean
that's wild.
The retirement was pretty surprising. I thought he'd wait a couple more years.
Happened on April Fool's, so I didn't believe it. Roy Williams just seems like a joker. I don't know him, but
he does. Like with those videos
doesn't
of
he
him
just
dancing
seem like
in the locker room.
doesn't he seem like
such a
somebody
great
would be like, psych, I was just kidding. But I mean, 2 years that aren't program level years in terms of what it was, and I think he's just getting older.
They were still an 8 seed this year?
They were. No, they were. I think Wisconsin was the 8 seed and they were the 9 seed. Maybe I was flipped.
Flipped. I don't know.
Flip it, whatever.
Who knows?
But yeah, then they lost in the first round. Last year, didn't even make the tournament. I know Cole Anthony was injured. Their best player was injured throughout most of the year.
They were a really bad team.
But they were really bad. Even when he came back, they were kind of bad. So yeah, 2 years in a row where they just weren't at the level of what their program had been. It's kind of tough for them. And Roy Williams was getting older. I mean, he'd had, 40, 42, 38? One of those.
Since, I think, 88.
So crazy.
Coaching.
But just extended, greatness from Roy Williams. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Happy retirement.
And Hubert Davis, an interesting hire. He's been on his bench for a while.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is going to be a long-lasting partnership. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the North Carolina job's the
premier, I would think.
Yeah, it's probably the best job that was available.
Yeah.
Now it's between Indiana or Texas. Although Texas
Indiana got filled, no?
Did Indiana get filled?
Indiana got who? What's his name? Oh, my goodness. What's his name? He's previous NBA coach.
I'm looking it up. Oh, Mike Woodson?
Yeah, Mike Woodson. He kind of looks like, in no disrespect, he kind of looks like a Mr. me.
Potato Head.
Oh, I was going to say like a me from the Wii.
Oh, he does look like that too.
Looks like a me. And Mr. Potato Head. No disrespect. I hope you do great at Indiana, just not good enough to beat us next year. All right, you got one more?
I got one more. This is the one you were thinking of.
Yes.
We'll go back to 2016.
Okay.
National title game. Villanova, North
16,
Carolina.
What a year.
Yeah. Great year. Villanova, North Carolina. You got, 2016 was a great year for sports.
Yeah. And just for life.
You got the 3-1 comebacks.
Yep.
Two of them, Cubs and
LeBron.
Cavs. You got the 28-3 meltdown.
Yes.
You got this game, which might be the best game. Although Game 7 World Series, and Game 7 of the finals.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up there. You could rewatch this for but go ahead.
So Villanova has the lead with, I believe, 15 seconds. North Carolina comes down. They don't have much going. Marcus Page thinks he has a three-pointer, jumps up, but the defender's right there. Double clutches, push shot, goes in, ties the game. And we're all, I remember watching this and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe Marcus Page just made that shot. It's not over yet. There's, I think, about 3 seconds left. And what did they do? Ryan Arcidiacono.
The Bulls legend.
I love Ryan.
Flips it back. I just watched that today. I watched the clip.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was maybe it was today or yesterday. It was 5 years ago.
Okay. Brings it down. Gets a screen from Daniel Ochefu.
Yep.
Flings it back. Little toss to Chris Jenkins for the title. And it's good.
And it's wild.
Confetti raining down. You get the Chris Jenkins pose with his arms out wide. Such a beautiful game.
That's
Such a
better.
beautiful picture.
That's better.
That one is better.
It's for the championship. It's Nova beating North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's when North Carolina hit that deep three, you saw Michael Jordan in the crowd going crazy. They had the cameras on him, and then Ryan Arcidiacono, the GOAT. His little brother actually plays on the Villanova team right now.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Maybe not Villanova. Maybe I'm mistaken. But another Arcidiacono, and I assume that's his brother because how common is the name Arcidiacono, right?
Yeah.
Flips it back. Jenkins, bang, and it's just like wow, like that's what more could you want? What more could you want from a Final Four, or from a national championship game?
All right, Brendyn, we got like a minute and a half left. We should talk about Baylor Gonzaga.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game. It just seems like if this game isn't phenomenal, it just seems like a letdown.
I don't see how it can't be because Baylor's peaking at the perfect time, and Gonzaga's just as dominant as ever.
Right.
Which matchups though really jump out to you?
Ooh.
Because there's a couple of really great ones in this.
Yeah, definitely. Let me tell you right now. The Davion Mitchell Suggs. I don't know who's going to be on who.
So, yeah, that's the question because I want to make it like a trio matchup.
Okay. Oh,
or
okay.
even a duo because it's probably like a Yayi or Suggs on Butler or Mitchell.
Right.
Like those two matchups just will be super interesting.
Huge because Davion Mitchell's such a good defender.
Yeah.
Jalen Suggs is such a good
Even
offensive
Butler.
player.
Jared Butler's.
I mean,
they're all
the whole team. Yeah, the whole team is
all four of those guys really complete players.
Right, exactly. So those two guard matchups are going to be huge, right? I think what'll be really interesting is how deep they go into their bench.
Who, Gonzaga?
Both teams.
Well, Baylor has a better bench.
I agree.
Because Gonzaga doesn't really use their bench.
Exactly. But if Gonzaga's forced to go to their bench, right, through foul trouble, through guys just not playing completely as they can be, it'll be interesting to see how Baylor capitalizes on that. Because I'm going to sit here and say the reason UCLA was that close to Baylor wasn't because they played phenomenal defense. It's because they played phenomenal offense.
Yeah.
That's what Baylor's going to have to do. But if Baylor can force them into a situation where their best offensive players aren't even really on the court like that, or aren't even on the court as much as they're used to being on the court.
So you think foul trouble is going to play a role?
Not necessarily foul trouble, but just if they are able to set the tone defensively early and force guys into shots or uncomfortableness early and make sure that, you know, guys who are normally, you know, Suggs, right, Timmy, Kisper, if those guys aren't on, which is very, very hard, the three guys just aren't on, the three best guys aren't on. And that's what makes Gonzaga so dangerous. But if they're able to shut down at least two of those guys, then it's going to be interesting to see how Gonzaga responds to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody can do it, but if anybody can do it, it's Baylor.
Yeah, I think the X factor of this game is Drew Timme.
Yeah.
Because there isn't that dominant post that you see from Baylor.
Yeah.
Like we saw this with when Illinois played Baylor, that Illinois had a shot when Kofi was in and when Georgie was playing great in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
But then Kofi got in foul trouble and Georgie kind of cooled off. And we saw Baylor pull away because they're more of a guard and wing team.
Yeah.
But if Drew Timme can give you 35, 36 minutes of solid post play where every time a screen is set, you're worried about switching, the game's just completely different. Yeah. Who you got to pick?
Ooh, that's so hard, man. An hour away.
Yeah.
An hour away from this game. And a week ago, I said I was scared because Gonzaga had never been through the gauntlet, had never faced. I don't know if they're tough. And I know that Baylor had lost a couple. They know what they can. They know what can stop them. They know what gives them trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in close games. They know Gonzaga just had their close game.
Yeah.
They know that if they let a team score as much as they do, it's going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So coming off that game, give me Gonzaga. They are the first team since the 79 Indiana team to pull
76,
off.
I think.
76 Indiana team. Thank you. Nithin always keep me on point. To pull off the perfect season. I coming off that game, that historic game, it would be, I think, a shame to me if Gonzaga couldn't pull off two of those just elite wins in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I think Baylor is that team that could do it to them, I think Gonzaga is just a little bit above them, and I think that's going to show today.
Do you have a score prediction?
Man, Give me like 87, 84.
Okay.
Like 4 points maximum is this game. It's a close game. It's a really good game. But yeah, you?
I'm feeling similar to you. I think like I could be wrong. And it's sort of like I think there's like a 51% chance Gonzaga wins. There's a 49% chance Baylor wins.
That's how I feel as well.
I think it's really close. I think it comes down to a last shot again.
Right.
I'm going to go 89-88 Gonzaga.
Ooh, on a buzzer beater or on just a last shot?
I'll stay a little bit safer. Let's just say game-winning shot.
I'm with you, Nithin. We'll see how correct we are on Wednesday. But, man, go watch that national championship game. That's going to be phenomenal. When we get back on Wednesday, we're going to, talk about that. We're going to talk about NFL, which we haven't been able to do today because it's all been college basketball. We're going to even talk about NBA. We're excited to be back on here on Wednesday, but in an hour, watch that game. It's going to be phenomenal. For me, for Nithin, this has been Illini Drive on 107.1 WPGU.